Yeah.
Nogari's better. So let's see if we do get the double top lane ban here, because I think Flame will also first pick Vladimir.
Well, the last time Hanwha was on red, they took Galio, Vlad, and Yasuo. There's the Galio. So one of those picks has to go amongst Vlad and Yasuo.
Kalista and Vlad, both open and both potentially first picked. I don't think it's as high priority for Nuclear in particular, and that's why they banned it. So now it's kind of a free Vlad ban, as I throw my pen at you by accident.
I let you grab that from where it was.
Shut up, others. As you think about what's left open, Zoe will be considered. Lissandra's banned this time, but the Rise is the big one. When it comes to top laners, the full jungle pool available, we should note as well. Hanwha Live final ban against DAMWON Gaming. And they say, we're happy playing into Mr. Vladimir. And Flame says, I will insta-lock it. This didn't work with Jace, let's remember.
I mean,
I assume... Actually, no, I mean, you can take Rise into it, and I assume that's what Tal will go to, but I was thinking Yorick. Yorick was banned. Interesting to leave open Vladimir, a three-way flex. For first pick, Flame plays it just fine.
And they're going to pick up the Rise on the side of Hanwha Life this time. Did lose another game, so he's down to 34% win ratio. But can do well into the top lane, so don't mind the pick.
Yeah, it's good against Rise. Rise is good against Vladimir.
Yeah.
Vladimir kind of has to go Cowl. Maybe you can get away with Merc Tread Rush, but regardless, you do have to put some respect into this lane. And then Bono says, I love camping, as he's gone for the Jarvan, which Jarvan Rise, very scary duo, whatever lanes they're in. DWG Gaming, however, on their side, Punch says, I can't have that bad Lee Sin game 2 games in a row, and I tend to agree with him. He had the lowest damage dealt as Lee Sin in the last game. And Showmaker just says, I'm popping off on LeBlanc. That's a lot of AP damage you have to itemize for on the side of Hanwha Life.
And if you're going off win ratios so far, win rates, both Vlad and LeBlanc at 66.7. Feeling pretty good about that, but the Xayah gonna come in here for Songyun, saying, I'm gonna put the carry pants on this time, and I'm gonna get away from some of that heavy magic full-on engage from the side of DAMWON.
I actually like this pick. It's not one I consider into Vladimir very often, but usually we just say, doesn't really matter who you are, Vlad shows up, level 16, you die. That's pretty spot-on analysis, I think, for most games. Lifting off through the Hemoplague, if you don't get hit by the Hemoplague, if you lift off at the right time, then suddenly you probably can fight back with just a modicum of magic resist and some battle stats. So I actually don't mind Xayah compositionally against Vladimir, and against LeBlanc picks, it's also got some validity. Do you double ban against the Xayah? I wonder. The Rakan one is an obvious one. Do you remember when Songyun and Ki last played Xayah? It was with Blitzcrank in the bot lane. That ended up being really effective. That was a victory for the Xayah and Blitz. Now, hooking a LeBlanc feels pretty good. Hooking a Lee Sin feels pretty good most of the time. Vladimir, pretty hard to hook, so I don't think it's necessarily going to be a Blitzcrank game, but Bard and other choices are available. I actually wouldn't mind last picking support and going for a key special here, but you would also understand continuing the flex of the solo laners, so whatever they decide here, whether it's solo lane or support, has a lot of validity, and it seems like we're not going to go for the playmaking last pick.
Definitely something, well, gonna switch over to the Shen. Definitely has some ability to make some map plays, at least, while being a bit weak. And okay, we're not wasting any time with this one. Vayne comes in alongside the Braum.
Nuclear have been practicing this for a long time, but never dared to bring it out in the LCK with any reliability. We get it in this game, and how will they do for a second game in a row? Where honestly, the Vladimir is to some degree a win condition, but it's Vayne, right? And if Vayne doesn't have the tea just the right temperature, if she doesn't have everything stacked up, she can go oh so wrong. However, the payoff, if things do go out, usually is a victory. So given that Vayne has been all the talk this week, can they talk the talk and walk the walk with Nuclear as probably the prime win condition?
Very interesting draft. I mean, you come into this one, you see the Vlad given first, and then Lee Sin and LeBlanc also given over to DAMWON, and you're saying, what's going on? But certainly some ability now for Hanwha to kind of just go all in onto the Vayne, somehow deal with the Vlad damage, and move on from there.
Find it very peculiar. They ended up with Ryze mid lane when Ryze does well against Vlad. Now, Aatrox in the early game has the healing reduction on the passive and can turret dive Vlad. So you can, just like they did with Nogari last game, play through that lane. But if you're last picking that after you already had a matchup that's pretty good, aren't you basically saying, hey, we're going to just gank top a million times? Because if you don't do that, I don't like the Aatrox. So I'm not in love with what they ended up with on the red side, Hanwha Life Esports. And if things go to plan, Vlad puts down a lot of AoE and you have to run away from him. And during that time, you got very little threat on a Vayne tumbling through your team. So there's a lot to like in the late game for DAMWON game.
Certainly feels like Hanwha are going to have to play similarly to the way they played in Game 2, but they got that Ryze in the mid lane, a little bit awkward. We'll see if they can actually make it work coming into this one, as this was actually a draft where Lucian, who's 96% presence here in Korea in LCK, falls through the draft. No bans, no picks, as they go into some other stuff here. And we're going to go into game number 3 right now, last match of the night.
Two can do the zombie game, zombie lava this time. Zombie Ryze aficionados out there. I liked it before the skin rework, I'm going to be honest. I think the Zombie Ryze lost a bit of the luster. But, you know, one of these squads, when it comes to playoff hopefuls, will lose a lot of luster if they lose this series, both in terms of Hanwha Live's future schedule and DAMWON Gaming's amount of matches played. It feels like this might actually be the most important best of one of the season for DAMWON and Hanwha Life. And given that we're slightly tending towards DAMWON Gaming, to me the only quandary is, can Nuclear's Vayne both get through lane, and can Nuclear perform as one of the primary win conditions for his team? Because that hasn't always been the case. Runes are up on the screen. I was thinking if you were going to do the swap, Season have Ryze against LeBlanc, it probably has to be Aftershock, just to not get burst down from range. Jarvan's going to have a big role here, and Bono on a good day has been able to follow through it.
I always like a couple of junglers that have to make stuff happen in the early game, and Bono up against Punch is always a fun matchup as well. That was one of those other key player comparisons that I wanted to look at before these games. And take a look at this. First pick, actually, for Bono's Jarvan, and first pick for Lava as well on the Ryze.
It may actually be another first, because I was thinking about how it was Resolve Domination Ryze. He can't have Mana Flow banned. I can't remember the last Ryze didn't have Mana Flow banned somewhere in there, so it just tells you how much respect Lava is giving the lane. This is definitely not a hard counterpick Ryze lane by any means, so Ryze taken in, and it's Lava. It's a tricky matchup, and he's definitely reinforcing it with going for Taste of Blood and also the full Aftershock.
I mean, we know that Lava knows a lot about LeBlanc as well. He's
and
one
Ryze.
of our aficionados of the pick, and as you mentioned, must know this kind of matchup in and out and every which way. So we would like to defer to his thoughts on the rune choice and the way to play the matchup and see if it works out for him.
I want to see how Nuclear does against the Xayah with his Vayne choice. Players definitely struggle against Feathers, and as a short-range AD carry, you can, at a lot of times, need to have your wits around him. He has Cleanse, and there is heal Guardian onto Braum, so there are defensive tools. He might need them even in the 2v2 lane.
Smite comes in, but Bono not going to let these popcorn chickens go the way of Punch, even though Punch got a nice amount of them.
Please don't mention popcorn chickens. I'm quite hungry about this.
As am I. As are we. That going a little bit later.
Every time there's a 3-game second series at home, listen for how many times we make food analogies. It goes way up because we're hungry.
It's true. It's a little mini game you can play.
They don't sell popcorn chicken in Korea at KFC.
I know.
Unfun fact.
You're just making me think of when BBQ was in LCK.
There was always chicken.
You were on a diet, so you could never eat it, but they always gave us a tub of fried chicken that I would really delve into and spend a lot of time with.
How do you not put on weight, Valdez?
I don't know. I just never have. It's just the way it's always been. It's like I'll eat a lot at sometimes, but then other times I'll like skip breakfast, skip dinner, stuff like that.
That doesn't salvage it. It makes you more unhealthy.
Yeah, I know. But it also means I don't gain weight. Speaking of which, Songyun trying to get away from this one.
Oh.
Double flash.
Damn.
The synergy is real, but that's now 3 summoners down for the bottom lane of Hanwha Life and 0 down, all available for DAMWON.
And the scary thing is, if you get double flash out of someone and they die, while the other person keeps up their summoners, that's usually more of a win than what we see. But suddenly, Nuclear gets the right E down, and there's lots of kills for Vayne coming. So while Vayne doesn't have a kill, against a no-summoner enemy lane outside of an Ignite, there's a lot to like around Nuclear, and that's why Bono's saying maybe I can blow a summoner to relieve some pressure, because normally we think of Vayne as being dictated to. When she's got a summoner lead, when she gets the right wall stun, big things can happen.
Jarvan here, Bono standing on a ward that he doesn't seem to know is there. And he's going to return to the bottom side and still be seen, as that ward is still there.
I know, it's getting bonanza value here.
They really just, okay, they might know now, as Hoyt is like, no, I would not like to fight.
I like how we even pulled out the curse at a point of
Yes,
this.
thank you, Observer.
Everyone in the world now knows, even with the full mute, they know about it. Thank you there for our hard-of-hearing viewers and also our viewers that just don't like Pops with the Valdez and press that mute button. Shout out to you guys out there. We can shout them out because they won't hear it.
Exactly.
So it's much better.
Yeah. They had to beat the stream, of course, because we showed up for work. Anyway, Showmaker getting in here and takes a nice trade. You'll notice that already he's beginning to flex just a bit in the mid lane, getting a bit of a CS lead.
Punch is going for a second dip on the popcorn chicken stealing, and Lava just uses as a teleport spot. That was actually really smartly done by Lava. No difference teleporting there or teleporting straight onto his turret. Nicely played.
Yeah. Remember when BBQ had the cups of chicken and the bucket of chicken for us as staff? That was really the game changer. Once the bucket showed up, the vat, I was like, okay.
The vats weren't quite popcorn chicken, but they were like this hybrid of a nugget and popcorn chicken. They were basically exactly what you want.
I mean, they were fried in olive oil, right? That's their slogan. Best of the best quality, only the best oil.
That's the part that people don't know. You have to tell them. You kind of have to be hit over the head with the whole, no, it doesn't stand for barbecue. It stands for best of the best quality. Because Korea.
Yeah, and, you know, I wouldn't mind having a BBQ back in the LCK and eating some chicken.
I think our fellow color caster would also like BBQ back in the LCK. I'm sure that's one of his tasks, being a head coach of a challenge team.
The chains are real. Showmaker is just bullying here and dodging every Q that's thrown at him. It makes things much harder now, especially because the refillable potion is down. He doesn't have teleport. And still Ignite Flash available for Showmaker, who will be looking for opportunities.
And they're definitely there. But, as we noted, Aftershock, Taste the Blood, super defensive Rise build. Taste the Blood, Ravenous Hunter is the don't die of runes. It's also something that people take less than they should. This is an amazing duo of runes if you're going to be able to proc the auto attacks. Playing reliability, so if you're a ranged champion, do consider going into the Domination Train. Domination Tree, Domination Train. Follow that train, baby.
Yeah.
Speaking of trains, the Pain Train from Lee Sin was abated in game number 2. So I'm waiting for Punch to remind us why he is a feared Lee Sin player.
Well, he already got a bunch of summoners in the bot lane. You can see that he's hanging around that area, too, just always threatening, trying to get that lane to be safe as possible with the Vayne in it. As here we go, trying to dunk on the LeBlanc here, but the clone comes out and punches nearby. What do you consider? The answer is no.
He doesn't have burst range onto the lava there, so smart to back away. Don't know if Aftershock was on cooldown or not either.
I think it was.
I would assume so. To get that much damage in, you would imagine a Rune Prison came out. Punch is going to take an Ocean Drake. This is a pretty good, damn good team for an Ocean Drake. Both teams would be craving it. I would say Hanwha Life use it better because Songyun will actually use more mana than most people appreciate on the Xayah. That's why the indirect buff to Xayah was actually Essence Reaver getting buffed up. Punch takes it down. Darwin gonna steal blue, I think, as a response, but I'll take that trade if I'm DAMWON. The only person who's a little bit disappointed is Showmaker, because going to be less able to bully around the Rise.
Yeah, but he does have that Ocean Drink, so will help a little bit when you think about it. And yeah, Nuclear one-on-one on a Xayah is always going to win that trade, so especially when he is dealing with invaders in his jungle.
Don't like those pesky invaders. They make my life hard. Stay off my lawn, please, invaders. Well, the lawn of flame is being invaded. Looking for a turret dive here, but it's already level 8. It already looks tricky. It is the movement speed enabler on the phase rush on the top side, and always get worried when a Vayne lane is in threat range of even a single turret.
Showmaker, after the dunking that was attempted by Lava and Bono, still has his flash, so this becomes increasingly hard to pull off in terms of a gank onto that LeBlanc.
I'm just not a fan of watching top lane and seeing the last pick Aatrox not getting back up and go CS for CS against Vladimir. It just screams bad decision on the side of Hanwha. It also screams maybe should have banned Vladimir, because if your best solution is Aatrox and they're not playing around the lane, I would argue your best solution failed.
Bad decision, dude. BDD.
That's not what it stands for. It's big damage dealer.
Uh-huh. It can stand for many things.
All right, suggesting a third one then. You got nothing.
What? There is one. I'm not going to mention it, as he's not in this series, but always like to shout out our boy.
This has a really quotable name, BDD. It's so different to Faker, you know, the other mid lane superstar, where that one just could mean a lot of things. BDD is much more up in the air, and he has the very esoteric preference of preferring capital B and lowercase d's. He doesn't like how it looks with the capital D's, so...
The capital D's, yes.
I mean, we have mid laners of certain preferences. We have BDD with his lowercase d's. We have Pawn with his ruler to measure out how far away the screen is. Something about the mid laners. Oh, there's something about mid laners.
Are they considered the weirdos of the Rift?
I guess in Korea, yes, based on the sample size. I don't really have a reverse story for 3 top laners, so...
Maybe in other regions, AD carries could be considered that. I feel like they're a little bit particular about certain settings and stuff like that with all the mechanics that they have to use.
Let's remember that just like game number 2, we're very particular about how Hanwha Life win this game. We're still feeling like it has to err towards the earlier game. Now, we didn't get to see it from Griffin, but compositional answer to the Vayne is considered to be the Rise, because Rise has a point-and-click route, and yes, she can be invisible all the time, but if you choose the right time to root, it's very reliable, and you kill Vayne. However, Rise will have to deal with Vladimir spreading his AoE, LeBlanc having kill threat, and your first thought is that Vayne should be tumbling happily in team fights, so just like game number 2, may not be a hard timer, but in the side lane it might be with how strong Vladimir is. CS for CS, no discernible lead for the Aatrox. It's got to be soon, and so far, no discernible lead for Hanwha Life.
Yeah, they tried the one time, but it was easily spotted out by the side of Flame. And DWG Gaming, they called out the rotation. He didn't get dove 3v1. Since then, he's just been sitting back, waiting until he can get that extra CDR with the gem, and yeah, just farming it up and feeling really happy. Executioner's Calling is there for Tal so that he can trade a little bit better, but at the end of the day, the longer this game goes and the less action there is, DWG will be very happy.
It's not a win button, but it is something to feel very content about. And we already said, guys, if you're joining in late, you're unaware of the stakes, this could actually be a BO1 for playoffs, given that the schedules might just write themselves. Short Realm Warp, but this one's not actually to get over a wall.
It's an interesting idea. They're really just trying to rush this down.
Yeah, they want to get a lot of gold into the Aatrox, and it might be shared 3 ways.
Oh,
get
the
turret.
Boom. Perfect timing, 1356. They get the whole turret full of plates into a bunch of those guys that would like it. The Rise, the Aatrox in particular.
Nice map play, and like you say, the timer was very much sweating. Pick up the gold. We back away. Life Esports back in the mid lane. A TP expended to get some gold.
Oh boy. Showmaker may have made a mistake here trying to get dunked, but he's LeBlanc. Oh, he's turning it around. The kick from Punch, so clean. But Shen is going to be able to come in and save his life. Now TP's from the back. He in a little bit of trouble. Here comes Flame. The Flash trying to come in, and there's the first blood. Finally goes the way of LeBlanc. And Lava and all the rest of Hanwha Life are on the run. Trying to turn it on to Flame, who nearly burst Lava with that empowered Cuba. Nuclear now trying to get a piece of the action, is going to get 1 kill. And it will stop there with just the 2-for-1 going the way of DWG Gaming.
Action-packed fight in the mid lane from that one. The Punch Lee Sin kick was actually clean. We got a highlight, but it didn't just rout the team of Hanwha Life. It forced them into some bad locations, and I guess the biggest worry from that is that Nuclear rolled in, didn't even need to use a summoner, and got a kill to get going even faster on the Vayne.
Super fun fight, very back and forth, and relatively close, but did go in the hands here of DWG, especially with a couple of kills on their carries and an extra mountain drink in their pocket.
And what is the second order of business against DWG? We talked about vertical jungler. Nuggery's not there. This exists against any configuration. Never get into a mechanics war with DWG Gaming, the lords of having multiple top 10 solo queue players. In fact, all 5 players in the top 11 in a professional game. Beautiful stuff from Punch, but that wasn't the end of the play. Amusingly, it didn't actually end up being consequential, but Flame with a minion dime pinged level 11 as the teleport ended. Didn't have his Hemoplague for the fight, was too far up. Nuclear gets the wall slam, and it may not be Poppy, but damn does it work.
I wonder what they said after that fight.
Nicer.
Probably nice.
Where's our replay? We don't know.
How can we possibly know? As trying to play around, Bono here is going to be knocked in the wall. Nice taunt here by Key, but he's still going to go down. Songyun trying to trade that damage back, but here's Nuclear right in the face of Songyun, gets the double kill, and this is looking crazier and more one-sided by the minute as DWG are getting more kills onto their Vayne.
And you know the answer to this. What happens in a game like this when it says 4-1 and Vayne has 3 kills? I think everyone types the same thing in chat, in the team chat I'm talking about here. You know what those 2 letters are. You
/FF.
I think you lead with GG. It's, 16 minutes, so I guess you could try to force the FF, but I think the GG is usually the call. Nuclear's fed. We talked about how on the Ezreal that doesn't always work, and honestly, as a win condition, it hasn't been a reliable one. This time, it's Vayne, and Ruler gave us the first look. Let's see if Nuclear gives us the second one as we watch the replay here. They roll in, and I think Hanwha Life should have got out of dodge early. It starts with 1 wall slam. And from here, Nuclear says, how about a double?
Songyun, no flash, has his ult, doesn't even use it, actually, on the backside. As very happy tears from the side of the DWG Gaming fans. Don't get to hear the nice oohs from the side of DWG, so I'm a little bit disappointed. But that's okay, as I'm sure they're feeling pretty nice about this one. Even though a lot of the plates did go the way of Hanwha Life, and that's why even after all this craziness, they're still near parity in golds.
But is there parity on where that gold is? No. 650 gold bounty for the Vayne. That's not just kills, that's farm as well. And just the amount of gold she's been able to pick up. Punch misses another Q. Again, we saw it. Did happen. Timepiece timestamp. That was around 1803. It sounds like a ye-old moment. 1803. It was a glorious year. I'm 32. Anyway. Nuclear backs off. He's got red buff rights after getting all those kills, and he almost has his Rage Blade 2-item spike done pre-20. Again, I like GG is feeling like the core of the game.
As they don't just have a Vayne, they have a pretty well-fed Vlad who has had no pressure onto him. They have LeBlanc who's looking to get out of this one now, Lava. Okay, gonna hop back here as Showmaker. I feel like I've cast this before. We'll see if he can actually make it out of this one as Showmaker. Gonna get that knockdown. There's the Cataclysm, and see you later, Punch. Trying to spare the blushes of his teammate. Is gonna try to get over the wall, but there's the flash taunt from the side of Key, but he's still gonna get away for now. Punch still on the run. Looks like he actually did it.
They got baited to keep chasing, but with the big door opened of the Braum, they couldn't stop him holding the door, and it holds the life of Punch. He lives through all of this, and Vayne still doesn't have to commit anything. If she had heal, maybe she would have thrown it out there, but keeps the summoners. In fact, has Nuclear used a summoner this game? My first thought is no.
I don't think so.
That's probably a bit too spick and span a Vayne game. Usually, given her laning phase, she's having to be defensive, but I believe she's just been able to just kind of farm her way to 2 items. You would assume with 1225 gold required, this is the second big buy, and it is pre-20 that she has her go-to items.
There it is. Has a massive bounty, too. We do have a bunch of summoners available on the side of Hanwha Life. We'll see if they can dunk her in the future, as we're going to take a look here once again at Showmaker's trying to get away.
If you're wondering why Showmaker he goes for the early W, he sees the flag and knows that, of course, Bono has targeted damage in the ultimate, so that's why he makes that play. There's no safety up. He goes to try to find safety in the mid, doesn't find it there, and then the door is held oh so strong. Hodor approved that one. Point backs away. We've seen the picture-in-picture, seems like just posturing. Remember that Rage Blade by the of the Ruined King Vayne just needs a bit of time, just like we said in our analysis for Ruler and Cuvée as the double by the Ruined King carries. If Nuclear finds his time and enters the fight with summoners up and 6 stacks of the Rage Blade, everyone else dies instantly.
I love the groan from the DAMWON side as Nuclear couldn't steal red buff. Too much pressure, I suppose, as Hanwha pushed them away and then try to rotate into mid, looking to get more damage onto this mid tier 1. Just a bit of posturing, as it is only the Cloud Drake available.
So I have a very important question. We already know that when Hanwha Life win games, they get treated by the chaebol company to Hanu beef, the very expensive Korean-produced beef. What do you think DAMWON Gaming gets for their 1 series? They're not as big an org. They don't have the big sponsor. So what do you think? Like, you know,
it's not that many choices though. I would assume samgyeopsal.
Just standard pork. Standard pork belly is what you're saying?
Yeah, that would be my assumption. But you never know.
You know what they might get? They might get Baron for dinner.
This is actually huge for Hanwha Life if they could pull it off. But the wards come down, and that mountain is not on the side of Hanwha Life. That's on the side of DAMWON. So Showmaker gonna say, "Ha! I found you guys. No Baron for you."
So as far as I know, there was a blue ghost bar. I don't know if it's spotted anyone going over the wall. Sungyun gave it away by chilling around and walking over vision. Almost a super tricky play. It seems like the dinner plans of Baron have been cancelled.
Like the idea, though.
Yeah.
A decent amount of Baron damage with the flag and Xayah plus a rise.
And there's been times that players have been heavily criticized for around 20 minutes rushing a Baron. For example, Misfits, who didn't do their due diligence and last week kind of ran at Baron and everything went wrong, and it was one of the worst plays I've seen in competitive play in many, many years. In this game, the Realm Warp subverts vision most of the time. The analysis of, okay, how do we do in the late game? Ooh, not so good. Also holds up. Remember, Misfits actually had the 1-3-1 advantage in that game.
Yeah.
That was actually a good try. That's the one where you throw it out there and you see what happens. Thinking of throwing it out there, Hoyt's going to have to use a splash, and other tools are being forced from DAMWON Gaming in a position where the Vayne should be a pretty big boon.
It's one of those games where, yes, the gold is even, but it's one comp with Vayne Vlad. And the other comp, yeah, they have a rise.
What would the other...
It doesn't quite match.
Here's a go. I tell you that it's top Vlad, and it's 80 carry Vayne. What are the 3 champions around that don't outscale it? How do you actually, like, hamstring this comp to not outscale? Because already you're like...
Sindao.
All right, so really early game. What about, like, No, I mean, Nunu works pretty well, I guess.
Yeah.
You want it to be good. You want it to be a damage-building squish. Maybe Vi? She's not that squishy anymore. Here's the Realm Warp, and Songyun double
Songyun.
spoils.
Oh.
Songyun epically fails this one. Actually, if he had pushed further into the Realm Warp, they wouldn't have spotted them.
Good observers.
So the Realm Warp, we know can push you overall or not, as Nogari found out on his escape in game number 2. Actually, for the same interaction, trolls Songyun in this game. That's actually really unlucky.
It's true.
Very interesting.
If they get in there, maybe they get the Baron in this game is entirely different.
They would have certainly got it lower, and 50-50, anything can happen.
Yeah. Sometimes it's the little things, not always about the macro. That was a nice map play, but a micro movement from the side of Songyun and Hanwha means that they can't sneak the Baron.
And that means they have to deal with the looming threats in front of them. First Showmaker. Nuclear backing away. I assume Phantom Dancer next, just to, have that maybe QSS to deal with the Rise. I think QSS is probably the call, if you remember. Well, is there 2? Maybe not, because remember, it was Zoe and another point-and-click threat from Griffin, so it was Cleanse QSS from
Rise,
Ruler.
right?
Yeah, it was Rise and Zoe. This time it's only Zoe, only Rise, so maybe just Phantom Dancer for the overshoot.
Yeah, I like that idea. I mean, she has the Cleanse. Here comes Taldo from behind, trying to get on top of Showmaker, but not quite going to happen.
Flame actually wasn't teleporting, he was in fact backing. And he just knew that there was no threat there, and Flame is now even more handsome. His hat suits him just fine.
It's a good one. I like the purple. Yeah, that is.
It's a purple hat and a red background. You're not colorblind, are you?
No, I'm not. But, yeah.
Lava has Banshee Veil, so Realm Warp going to be almost as reliable as the Deficio escape days, where you could stasis into going through.
The worst.
The only time, apart from, I guess, 2014, where the name Deficio wasn't followed with PogChamp or positive emotes, was in fact the Deficio escape that no one liked. And then he actually escaped the casting desk and everyone was sad.
Yeah, Deficio Bible thumb now.
His squad will be
where
playing.
are you?
His squad will be playing later in the LEC. He's on camera sometimes over there. I definitely was. I think flirting is probably the right word with the LEC on my stream.
Yeah,
and on Twitch and Twitter. So, yeah.
How is it flirting with Lek?
I mean, let's see what happens in the future. I'd love to go over there and guest.
Yeah.
I saw Machine and Frankie do it, and I was like, why can't Bob Smithy go? We got LS now. He can cast us.
Yeah.
Last year would have been really hard.
That's true. I always could have, held down the analysis fort for you, Papa.
Yeah,
Don't worry.
You start talking about AP Zach support, and then the fans just wouldn't believe you anymore.
Only if they played. Maybe if they played. Well, there's only 3 Drakes in this one, and one of them just got doubled. It's the Mountain. Goes the way of DAMWON, and they don't have the Realm Warp, but they do have double Mountain with the Vayne.
You remember how we had that incomplete information, what comp around Vayne and Vlad doesn't outscale?
Yeah.
You know what else sounds like a game that's pretty solved? What if I told you that Vlad was beating Aatrox by 30 CS, and around the Vayne lane they had 4 Drakes? That also sounds like a game that was super over. But this one isn't over till it's over. DAMWON have a lot of tools to work with, and Bono doesn't have enough health to work with.
Showmaker beginning to flex now on his LeBlanc, as you guys can see. Doesn't need the mana, just goes on in, and now is when Nuclear begins to get on in there. The Realm Warp will spot this, though.
They get him off the Baron. That's one tool, but a very expensive tool, cooldown-wise. Used by the Rise, and they just say, all right, what else you got? We know they got no more trinkets. Aatrox and Bam throw over a control ward.
It's Envision and they're backing.
I'm trying to see what's happening around the map. For now, it's actually Flame doing a hell of a lot of damage to Tal.
Yeah, so let me introduce you guys to Vlad. He hit level 16, so now you're dead.
No ult, by the way. Just ran at him and almost killed him. And I think DAMWON should just run at the Baron again. They're going for recalls. I guess they maybe felt uncomfortable that they were out of control wards. So they were like, well, and
yeah.
Given that they also outscale, you can also say, okay, I guess so. But I think they would have been fine returning to Baron, and they're going to lose out of mid lane turret for this, most likely.
Vayne just standing in front of damage,
All
but
right,
there's
maybe
that
not.
front line as Hoyt says hello.
They get a lot of the Vayne health bars, so maybe they get the turret. So a bit of to and fro. Nuclear needs a bit of time with the red buff and the Krugs to lifesteal back up. So now the Baron play. Look, there might be more control wards for it, but there is a mid lane to push and not an outer turret to repel vision from Hanwha.
Some pings already. Let's go to the Baron, they say. As clearing out the vision is the first point of contention here for DAMWON.
And remember, Hanwha stayed on the Rift pushing. They haven't gone for more wards. I'm actually not sure they have any control wards left. And this Baron is not long for the world.
They do have the blue trinket and a flank
They're
coming
YOLOing.
in.
Here we go.
From Tall, there's the Dunkerino onto 2, but nice stopwatch. But everybody's so low, but here's Vlad into the back line. Gets a massive Hemo playing onto everybody but the feathers from the side of Songyun. He's trying to go, but hey, my name's Vlad. He's still in this fight, doing that damage. Not gonna get the Penta, but will get the Quadra. Say hello to your new daddy, it's Vladimir.
The fight was oh so close because Hanwha did everything right, but they made a mistake earlier. They left Vladimir open, and unfortunately, DAMWON Gaming, Flame or Noggery, they're gonna beat you. Really exciting fight where the health bars were ticking on both sides, but only one champion excels in that scenario every time, and it's your daddy Vlad.
Oh man, it looks good for Hanwha too.
Watch how Hanwha do it. They do everything right because Bono, remember, can always check with the flag. He goes in and then you're like, wait, this could actually be a loss. And then Vlad says, I'm a cool champion. Turns around, instantly gets a double, but watch Songyun, after he lifts up, hits 3 through, and there was a chance they still won this. The door is very important, as you mentioned. Hoyt, and unfortunately, Flame as well.
I mean, they just got outplayed because they didn't ban Vlad. Feels bad, man.
That's a high five. Yes.
나이스! 바로 가자, 바로 가자! 아, 블라디 좋았다.
아, 블라디 너무
Flame
잘해.
said-
와, 호동이 형 나이스!
뭐야?
말했잖아. 크면
블라디
캐리한다고.
뭐야?
캐리한다고
팬이랑
했잖아.
자르만 풀빠였어.
Flame says, I promise to carry.
I mean, he got Vladimir, so his promise was not unrequited. It was delivered. Vladimir now has all of the items.
I mean, he doesn't need any more items.
Valdez.
He had enough in the last fight.
Do you remember when we first saw Noggery's Vladimir and we saw the build where you can go scaling CDR, Transcendence, and 5% free CDR? And we said, this makes him really strong, feels a bit overpowered. That was 4 months ago.
Yeah, how many patches ago was that?
Do you know,
Was that 9.2?
I
or
got in my
9.1?
DMs to the Riot Balance team, and I just laid it all out there, and I'm like, they were like, what champion should we look at? And I'm like, this Ryze seems really good. They haven't changed. Sorry, this Vlad seems really good. They haven't changed Vlad. And he's such a big problem in Korea.
Yeah.
Because if you can first pick and hard carry, that's, you know, I'm not sure about that one.
Well, I mean, you can say, hey, you know, early game, maybe you can get in there, do a bunch of ganks and stuff. And again, Hanwha Life were unsuccessful in doing anything to slow down the Vlad. So we don't even have to say anything.
Let's just say, you know, the nature documentaries presented without comment.
Moment of silence.
Balance was never the same.
I mean, he didn't get 10,000, so we shouldn't nerf him until next year.
Let's give him a couple more patches, see how it shakes out.
Yeah, you know. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's unbelievable. He's got a Void Staff now. He didn't need that again, but he has it now. And it's really important because, of course, when you're going up against Vlad and LeBlanc, you're stacking so much MR. So Void Staff is that thing where it's like, oh no, 40% is gone. And it just increases your DPS so much. It's really efficient. Especially against teams that are stacking that MR. And you can almost feel the life taken out of Hanwha Life.
He's literally sucking it. The champion sucks life.
He sucked the life out of them. And they're just kind of hiding in their base now. They're like, well,
at least we know what champions
what do
the
we do
Riot
now?
Balance team mains. They main Vlad. Confirmed.
That they do, as is he gonna die? Doesn't look like it. As not quite enough, but a zoning Hemo Plague is enough to scare them as we were talking about the Vlad, but Vayne is still in this game. Don't forget about her.
Oh, good. A second poison.
Yeah.
The first one I'm still alive from. Just kidding. I'm dead. Well, at least the front door engage is a bit harder, so they can't really just run at them, cannon style. So Vlad should go and buy his last item. He's got plenty of gold. In fact, everyone is full of gold on the side of DAMWON Gaming. When's the right time to lift off? Asked Sungyun.
Did he need more CDR? He bought a Phoenix Codex and then sold it. And bought a QSS. I like that. I like that purchase. He's like, well, I mean, what is this tiny little bit of AP going to do for me? I don't need the CDR. I'm already 45. Let's get a QSS so I can use my spells off cooldown.
What does the team fight that they lose look like? The fight where Vlad doesn't get in there.
Exactly.
So, get the QSS, buy a blue pot, and you're ready to go.
Now the game is over.
That's you know what? Nagori wouldn't have made that move, because that's why you bring in good old Flame. That's a veteran shot call right there. I'm not even joking. I actually think it's really smart.
No, I 100% agree.
Also, what's the opportunity cost? More damage. He doesn't need more damage, clearly.
Yeah.
So he's made the right move here. Shout out to Flames Vlad. I think this is a quintessential Flame choice. Speaking of the Vlad, Tal is on a mission. He's very, very, very far behind enemy lines, awkwardly on his own side, but that's just how the game has gone. This is not a visual bug.
Sorry, guys.
He's
Tal
waiting.
is AFK. No, he's waiting for the flank, but
he can pop over the wall with the E.
Here
so he's waiting out the minions. This is super Metal Gear Solid.
Trying to get on top of Nuclear as it is, but down goes Bono immediately as nobody can do anything. The Hemoplague is not dodged, and see you later, Hanwha Life. We'll have to wait for you in the next series. You forgot to ban Vlad, and boy, were you punished for it in this game. As well, let's pick up some more kills. Double kill for the Vlad. Flame feeling pretty happy, gets the final kill, gets the ace, and that's going to be it, guys. GG.
Double kill for DWG Gaming in a best of 3. That's all you need. They take down Hanwha Life. They firm that they are now the favorites for top 5, and maybe Hanwha Life will be so close but no cigar for another year running.
A huge series here for DAMWON. They needed to pick up the win against Hanwha Life so that they could be in a good position now at 9-6. Feeling much better and playing with a big smile on his face, doing the carry things on a carry champion like Vlad.
I also feel like if he dyed his hair and wore a red cape, he'd look like Vlad too. I think he could pull off a really good cosplay of the Vladimir, because right now all I can see is triples, quadras, and pentas, because Flame just popped off on this one. The fans, the DWG fans, are stoked. They know this was a big victory for his team.
It's definitely a huge one here on the side of DWG. Unfortunate to the side of Hanwha Life. Certainly some great moments from them, but they just were so close, yet so far away. And again, that's kind of the story of Hanwha Life. Once again, every split, it's like so close. One more game win, maybe you get into playoffs. One more better play, maybe you get into playoffs. And already I can feel those wins coming in. They're not the wins of change, but more so the wins that we know and love here in Korea. The ones where perhaps Hanwha Life missed playoffs again.
Camera loves Flame. Everyone knows that. And when you're winning, the smile is bigger, the fans are happier. DWG Gaming have pulled off a bit of a coup. Remember, they got this player for free, right? No transfer fee necessary. Picked up halfway through the spring season. And he's actually been able to square up a team that could fall into tilt. It really felt like beat them in a second game, and the third game, it would just be too much for the Young Bucks. They bring in a very experienced player, and as a squad, it seems to have made them stronger.
That it has, does his job in this game. Can't blame him for feeling real happy about that one. Everybody on the side of DWG is full smiles. As I'm curious about who they're going to play next time around. I forget, actually, that we had that little thing before. They're up against Griffin, actually, the next time in match number 80, actually. So we're going to have to wait a bit before we do see DWG Gaming, but they have Griffin next. But then they do finish off with Genji and KT. So not half bad for them for the rest of their season.
Only 3 more to go for them. Only 2 weeks of the LCK to go. So, can they actually show something against Griffin? Because this is a nice time to face Griffin, right? When they're down on their luck. And DAMWON Gaming, they've been able to get under SKT's skin over 3 best-of-3s since Kesma Cup. They had 2-1. But they also haven't necessarily performed when they needed to against some other of the contenders. So even a game off Griffin, and then I say, DAMWON, get through the wildcard match. And I'm so excited to see what the best of 5s for DAMWON with Flame and Nagori both getting game time actually look like.
DAMWON excited to see what they can do in over a week's time. It's actually going to be 8 days next Saturday when they do go up against Griffin in their next matchup. So for you DAMWON fans, you will have to wait a bit before you do get to watch your team play once again.
Victory is a happy one for DWG Gaming. They would have been really far behind Hanwha Live, given that Hanwha Live have one more series to play. We're going to watch the end of the game. Aatrox on a huge flank, but what was our read in Champ Select? Isn't this game going somewhere scary? Over a couple of fights, Flame was able to unleash some pain, and Nuclear early in the game was able to do some great things on the Vayne. Remember, he started 3-0 and got pre-20 minutes. Berserker Greaves, Rage Blade, and Blade the Ruin King. Then it was the Flame show. Vladimir keeps running, doesn't take damage, he's super tanky, his sustain is there, and even the Nexus turret ain't got nothing.
나이스! 버스 김호기! 바텀
They didn't catch that one. Maybe G-Sun, but she's getting ready for the interview, so. Fortunately, not 100% sure what he said there, but he did say nice. I caught that one, so.
Was it nice or nice?
It was nice, very quietly, and then he was happy about carrying his team on the Vlad. That should have been banned. As here in Korea, big problem, the vampires that are roaming the Rift every day.
And there's no Garlic, you know. What's the Garlic choice here to try to keep the vampires away?
Sometimes it's Jace, but even that doesn't work all the time.
It wasn't available.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that happened.
Found out how to ban that, but...
the counter to Jace we found is Vlad. The counter to Vlad...
They banned their own counter. They let Vlad through, but they banned Jace first. But they pick Ryze and they don't put it in that lane.
The issue is the counter to Vlad is Jace early. The Jace was banned and the Vlad was available. So, yeah, that was a growing problem that we just had nothing to answer for. And DWG also made smart moves around their duo. Nuclear had a really good game here. Understated, but there were moments like this where like, that's a nice maximum punish. Getting value out of the playmaking that the wall slam provides. Nuclear started it, Vlad ended it. From there, DWG Gaming pick up 2 kills to 1 in what was an entertaining series, and I'm happy that it did live up to the billing, because we knew what the stakes were. Both teams seemed to as well, as there was a lot of action over the 3 games.
Yeah, I saw some close moments here where Hanwha Life, again, I mean, some of their drafts are really questionable, especially this game 3 for me, but you see some moments in the game where you're like, man, these guys are really good. Mechanics are on point. They play well together as a team, but just falls short, just barely, a lot of the time around.
Hanwha Life have just never been the final article. That's what you're saying, right? They've often done a lot right. Like, how awesome did they play their early game draft in game number 2 when they had to get it done, they did.
Yeah.
But then they kind of conspired to give themselves a harder task in game number 3, which seemed unlikely. And yet they just couldn't repeat it, right? And an 18 best-of-3 regular season is about repeating. It's about getting the reps in and consistently improving. And that consistency just always seems a bridge too far for Hanwha Life Esports.
Yeah, definitely one of these orgs where you want to cheer for them. They do have some great spirit within the organization, but can't quite seem to take that next step. Still waiting for that one. Again, they're not out of playoffs yet, but a very rough schedule does await them in the future. They have SKT, then Griffin, and then Sandbox. So,
you know what the scary thing is about us? Zoom back and remember the 8,000 damage Vladimir team fight, and then of course got the further kills. Consider how little damage you would have had before then. Most of this 22,000 damage was back-end fight. And the Vayne was turning it on before then. I think Vayne was way ahead, and then suddenly it didn't matter because the lines were just set on fire from The match goes out there. The Flame, great name, ignited. And of course, who else to win but Flame? The fans are happy. His DPM, well, if it was actually judged after 20 minutes, would have been really high.
Yeah, this is the team fight where it's like, oh, we got flanked by Vlad. And, well, gets a double kill from Emo Plague, and even though Sangyun's play was massive, the door comes up, and Flame is not the guy that's low. He was about to get that Empower Q, and he just snipes the Zaya out of existence. This Vlad is just pretty insane. I mean, I think that was right after he got his death cap as well, so it's like perfect timing for the Vlad team.
This is not us taking out our solo queue frustrations. Vlad is a big problem in Korea. Bring garlic every time you come to Korea, because those vampires, they seem to be the world's best in Korea.
They definitely are. I ban them every game, and I feel like a lot of pro teams should consider that, especially if you are on the red side and you ban out a bunch of his counters. Either way, I'm going to hand it over to Ji-sun for the interview. Let's hear from Punch and Flame.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Ji-sun with today's last interview translation. DAMWON Gaming picked up a victory tonight, and they stepped up to the 5th place. And we're going to be joined by Punch and Flame from DAMWON Gaming. So you are really close to getting the playoff ticket in your hand. How did you prepare for today's series? Well, recently I was underperforming, so I just want to make it up to my fans, so I prepared really hard. And moving on to Flame, you subbed in Game 3, so you had to be the leader of your team, right? How was today's game? Today was one of the most important days, and I thought I might not be playing today, but Game 3 I got to be replacing Nuguri, and it feels really nice. Punch. Well, one of your signature pick is Listen, and you did show great performance in Listen, but Game 1 you first picked Gragas. What was the reason for that? Well, there were a lot of champions available, and seeing Cuz playing Gragas, I wanted to pull that off too. Yeah, I mean, Gragas is one of the top tier jungle champions right now. Why is that? Well, it's not that Gragas is a really good pick. I think the players are good. All the jungle champions are like even right now. I guess the pilot matters, right? And I think you did pull that off really well. Then let's check out some of the highlights on Gragas from Punch. So Hanwha was being a little bit aggressive over there. What's going over there? I was like, what should I do? What should I do? And then I see the good angle coming, so I just went with my body slam. I think I was a bit lucky. We could have lost that team fight, to be honest. Are you practicing Gragas a lot? Yeah, recently. Well, so now you that won the game, I have this question. Where there were a lot of still going on in game, especially you got your red buff stolen with 1 HP. But at first I was like, it can't happen. But and then they also told me that Baron was also stolen with 1 HP, so I was really sad. Either one of them could have gone better and we could have closed out the game easier. 풀었다고 생각을 하면 좋을 것 같아요. 자, 플레임 선수는 3세트에 등장을 하셨습니다. You showed up in game 3. It was one-on-one for each team. Didn't you feel any pressure? What did you say to your teammates?
부담감은 솔직히 그러니까 매치에 부담감은 있었지만
well,
제가 경기하는 거에 대한
there was pressure about the meaning of this game itself, but not in terms of playing the game. And we were just talking about how to communicate, and we were trying to get rid of our mistakes and things like that. Nothing really special. And we're speaking of some of the winning game plans and something like that. Flame, game 3, you were doing so well in your Vladimir. You were just killing everybody. So let's go through this highlight first. This is the Baron team fight. You are having a really nice flank in the downside of the team fight position. So weren't you really afraid or feeling any pressure to go in alone like that?
제가 라인전 지는 상성인데
Well,
상대가 조금
at the beginning of the game,
서포
well,
센이라든지
I have a losing matchup,
투자도 있었지만
and there were a lot of Hanwha Life players roaming to the top lane.
말했잖아. 투맨 캐리한다고.
So I did have a bit of a hard time.
이때 장면이 내가
And that's the moment Flame saying that I told you that I'm gonna carry.
이런 내용이 나왔는데요. 1픽 하실 때
So when you first picked Vladimir, was that your own opinion, saying that you're gonna carry?
일단 저희가 그냥 그렇게 연습을 했고
Well, that's one of the practice we always do, and I have a very high win rate with my Vladimir, so I had a lot of confidence, and that's why we were able to pull that some of the good results today. The punch you played with Naguri and also Flame.
탑솔러의 장점이 많이
What are the strong points of each top laners?
정말 많이 들었던
Well,
내용인데
I have heard, I have been asked these questions a lot. To put it simple, both players are so good. They're both handsome. They're both good top laners to play with.
게임도 더 잘 되는 거죠?
네, 그렇죠.
So being handsome makes them play better.
알겠습니다.
Yes, kind of.
선수가 두 명의 탑솔러와 함께 좋은 조합 보여주면서
So I
오늘
think
담원
you showed great
게이밍이
synergy with
2대1로
both of the
승리
top laners, and you were
다음
picking up
경기가
2-1 victory today.
그리핀이에요.
But your next opponent will be Griffin.
하지만 최근에 1패가 있기 때문에 난공불락의 성은 아니다 이런 게
But
증명이 된
Griffin
상황이거든요.
Well,
어떻게
actually
대비하실
dropped the
계획이신가요?
game last time, so they are not unstoppable now.
생각하는 경기 매치가
Well, that's the most important game of the split for us now. We have never actually defeated them since the Challengers Korea, so we're gonna practice as hard as we can.
승리하겠다고 말씀해 주셨고요. 플레임 선수는 어떻게
Flame, what about you? How are you gonna prepare for
그땐
that?
제가 없었으니까 일단
Well,
지금
I was missing in that match in the first round robin, but now Damwon has me.
네. 플레임 선수
너무 세게
어떻게-
던졌나?
아닙니다.
Was that too
충분히
harsh?
가능할 거라고 생각을 하고요. 플레임 선수 어떻게 이렇게 오랫동안 폼을
Flame,
유지할 수
how are you
있는지
able
마지막으로
to
한번
keep your
여쭤볼게요.
form so form on point for such a long career?
그냥
자랑 한번 시원하게 해주세요.
Show off yourself.
그냥
I don't know,
그냥
just
계속
I'm
하던 사람이
just-
잘하는 것 같아요.
I mean, the player who is good.
나는 계속
It's
잘해왔기
good for
때문에
long
지금도
term.
좋은 모습 보여주고 있다는 말씀이죠.
더 열심히 할게요.
I'm gonna practice harder. I promise.
플레이 선수가 말씀해 주셨고요. 정말 담원 게이밍이 요즘 아주
담원
분위기가
게이밍.
좋습니다. 오늘
I
승리를
think you
어렵게
guys are on the
가져가기는
definite
했지만
upswing.
그래도
It
내용도
wasn't an
좋았고요.
easy game, but
이렇게 결국은
you guys are able to pick up the victory and
오늘
stepped
다시
up
한번
to the fifth
축하드리고요.
place.
인터뷰
So
여기서
congratulations, and this will be the end of the interview with
감사합니다.
Punch and Flame from Damwon
네,
Gaming.
펀치
And
선수,
I'm gonna
플레임
pass
선수
it back to our
만나봤습니다.
casters.
중계선
Bye
연결할게요.
bye.
Bye, Ji-sun. Thanks for the translation. As, Vlad's a good champ. Flame is good at interviews as well. As he was actually lining up for that, everybody in the studio just gathers over to that one side, so everybody stayed. Even though it's really late, it's nearing 11 p.m. here in Korea, just to watch the Flame interview.
Have you noticed that you had to process the question? When the translation came through, I didn't know what form they were discussing, whether that was a physical form or his form as a player. I'm like, well, both those questions could actually be valid. Flame is very handsome, so fans are happy. The world, DAMWON fans, everyone except Hanwha Life fans, probably pretty happy. Vlad fans, maybe not happy because
he's going to get banned every game now.
I mean, he was kind of getting banned every game before, so now
True, yeah.
Maybe more.
I was going to post something on Twitter about, Vlad fans, they're going to be so happy. He's the real winner tonight. And then I was like, actually, that's not true. No. So I just posted a picture of Vlad and let the rest of you guys do the work as to the meeting. And, well, DWG, after that game, they give another loss to Hanwha Life. And we said it before, but once you hit 9, 10, 11 wins, that's when you begin to clinch playoffs. And Kingzone and DWG, as you guys can see, very close, actually, even to SKT and Sandbox. We'll see how this playoff race continues, as it's a pretty spicy one towards the end of spring.
And while DAMWON Gaming have clinched nothing, this is the clench period for Hanwha Life. They have to face the top 3 in their remaining games. So finding 10-match wins, which with this game score is going to be important. Sounding tough, Valdez. Hanwha Life have a horror run coming. DAMWON Gaming don't have Plain Sailor. They do have Griffin next up, but maybe it's the right time, as Griffin will be playing tomorrow against the Afrika Freaks. KT Rolster versus Sandbox. We'll have to say goodbye to the LCK faithful. That's our shift for the week done.
Yeah.
Will be Atlas and LS for the remainder of this week. So hoping that Atlas is feeling better. He had to sub out yesterday, so thank you for subbing in yesterday on short notice, as our pal Atlas was a bit sick.
Lots of sick boys here in Korea nowadays, as the spring flu is flowing through, and a lot of people picking that one up. So happy to be here. It's a lot easier when we're all part of the same squad and can fill in. And
we're on the same team, Valdez.
Rotate and stuff. Yeah. I'd like to be on Vlad's team as well. Can he be our 5th member of the broadcast crew?
No,
I would like that a lot.
No, I bet.
Oh, okay. That's all right. We'll pick someone else. But that's going to do it for us, guys. It was a pretty long one, coming down to about 11 p.m. here. But